please rise for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can say we always have a good turn. Everything we do, everybody shows up. It's appreciated. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Kapadas?
Here.
Ms. Passio?
Here.
Ms. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Farrell?
Yeah, here.
Mr. Shapiro?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Basor?
Here.
Ms. Straley?
Here.
Also present, Mr. Wozong?
Here.
Mr. Sampolsky?
Here.
Mr. Bach?
Here.
And Mr. Richard.
All right, thank you.
Selfridge, I knew I was going to do that.
Really?
Apologies.
Get that out?
I always put their two names together, I'm sorry.
Good, correct.
I expect so much more.
All right, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act is begin by clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board of the Borough Clerk's office on January 8, 2025, and two, emailed to the retrospect and carried closed on January 8, 2025. First thing is discussion of the C2 operator. Who wants to take that? Harry or Shelley? Or me? C2 operator is on here. I guess we're appointing Harry as the C2 operator because then Larry gets, so as everyone doesn't know, we had to do a shared service with a C2 operator. That's the person who signs off on our sewer
Your sewer license.
or sewer license. Mr. Wozong has passed his test, and so we would always plan on having it in-house. Took Harry a little longer than we thought. We started in the 80s, right? So we'll do a resolution at the next meeting. Is that the proper way to do it? Anybody? Julie?
I'll take it, it's fine. Yeah, we can do a resolution, but it would be pending state approval. The
Oh.
state actually has to sign off on Larry coming off and Harry going on.
Okay, so we'll do our part.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
So just so everyone knows, Larry was a gentleman from Belmar who was helping us out for several years. Okay, public hearing. Okay, public hearing tonight.
Ray, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think those mics are on anymore. If you guys wouldn't mind, I just
Just
want to
turn
make
it off?
sure I can record, sorry.
Yeah, it turned on.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem.
Thank you.
Just hold the button. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
I just put them in before the meeting. You should be able to hold the button in and it'll work. Some of them are on.
Yeah. Okay, first is public hearing for ordinance 2501. This is amending the ordinance on sewers. So everyone recalls, this is a change where we're actually adopting something we looked at in 2019 or 20, changing our connection fee. We did warn everybody that we were doing it, all the properties that are working. They decided to wait. And then as for our homeowners, there is a slight increase. We hadn't increased in several years. The bills after council approved, hopefully this evening, those bills will go out in the next couple of weeks. So this portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please come to the microphone. State your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to adopt? It's ordinance 2501.
I'll make a motion to amend the code of the Borough of Runnemede in the County of Camden, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 292 sewers.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Passio. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Farrell. Roll call, please.
Ms. Passio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
6 ayes.
All right, so the ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 2502 is amending the land use procedures in the town. These are also fees. What we're doing is simplifying fees again for planning and zoning. This was a recommendation from both the borough engineer and the planning board. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public
I'll
portion?
make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Passio. All in favor? All right, public portion is closed. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make amending Chapter 230 land use procedures in the Borough of Runnemede Code, planning/zoning board application fees.
Thank you. Is there a second?
No, sir.
Second Shapiro. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
All right, that ordinance is adopted. We're having first reading tonight on ordinance 2504, which is amending chapter 104 about the size of the numbers on buildings. This was recommended by our construction code official, just for ease of clarity. Buildings have to have numbers on them, back doors need to have numbers on them. This helps out for public safety reasons and for inspections.
Is this for residents? too?
No, only for commercial businesses. Right, am I saying that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So would someone like to make a motion to adopt this order?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Murray, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shapiro, roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And Mr. White?
Yes.
We'll have our public hearing next caucus meeting. Was there something else on fees we're going to introduce at the next week? So just everyone's,
Wayne,
yeah, so if you remember, our construction official came in also and made some comments about how we do CCO inspections and things like that. He felt that the borough was being taken advantage of a little bit because we had basically a free re-inspection. What was happening, he found out, was that people were paying for their inspection, not doing anything, letting us go around and make a list, almost as if we were doing the work for them. So the new process will be, we're going to submit basically they'll have a letter of what they need to repair, steps, railings, those kind of things, sidewalk. They'll know, we'll go out and do an inspection. And then the re-inspection, there's a fee if we have to come back in, because this way they don't waste our time. But we're going to try to get everybody inspected on one time. They know what we're looking for. So that'll be on next week's agenda as first reading. And then there was a second thing that hopefully will be on for next week also. In our zoning fees, we have 6 different numbers, $25 for this, $45 for this, $75 for this. Wayne and Mr. Moore also came up with a suggestion of just simplifying it. Residential is $50, commercial is $100. So nobody has to worry of collecting the wrong amount or what it is. And once again, why do we collect fees for zoning? Simple. We don't want people putting fences up where they shouldn't be putting them up. We don't want people putting, swimming pools in the wrong spot, garages, sheds. That's what we're really talking about, and things like that. So hopefully that gets done, which would be nice. Have all this stuff and be done with fees this year. All right, resolution, we have a lot on that. Resolution 2539 is a resolution supporting the publishing legal notices on official government websites. As I've been saying, the largest newspaper in the state basically went to all digital, the Asbury Park Press. North Jersey mostly uses them. The state did a little stopgap of saying towns could advertise on their websites for a short period of time while they review this thing. And so the League and the Association of Clerks, everyone is arguing that we should have some mechanism that's better than a newspaper that runs once a week, that we can advertise in some other way. So there's some different thoughts out there how to do it, but this is our support of allowing us to at least doing it possibly on
So what were they just?
websites.
This is a try it out? and see
They're
how-
waiting to hear from everyone. They're waiting to hear.
Okay.
The proposal that I saw that was positive, which helps the newspapers, which should not be our job, is we still can use the newspapers, but they'll have an online database. There's one currently now. You can actually go through the whole state of New Jersey and search. I do it personally, say for signs. If a town is going out for bid on a sign, I can look up and see any town in the state that is advertised. So there is a positive to this, to having some kind of a centralized area to advertise. But it doesn't need to be a newspaper. Right now, the retrospect only publishes once a week. That hurts us. Courier Post is what, twice a week?
I guess, yeah, no.
For legal notices. So if we want to have an emergency meeting, we're caught in a potential problem with not being able to advertise properly. I think there's a compromise that will happen. But I think what will make the difference is municipalities saying they support it, and the clerk's offices saying that it would help them to be able to advertise better. Would someone like to make a motion on that one?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Murray, is there a second? Second by Mr. Farrell. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
6 ayes.
And I believe there's a sample of the resolution in your packet here,
Yeah.
where it just says about trying to make it better. Resolution 2540 regarding employment of superintendent of public works. This is, so this is actually saying that Harry's the certified public works manager. But we are doing it. No.
The other one was the C2.
Which one is this?
Contract.
Oh, it's his contract.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is extending Harry's contract for the next 3 years. I think everything's in order. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll
Motion by
second it.
Mr. White, second by Ms. Passio. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
6 ayes.
All right, resolution is adopted. Resolution 2541 is reducing a performance bond guarantee for DR Horton, Ashbrook Landing. What's the reason for this?
Set of perimeters installed, the statute provides for reduction up to 30% of the original performance guarantees amount without releasing it. They have installed sanitary sewer, sufficient curb, and other bonded improvements. They've actually installed more than 70%. They're actually in the 80s, but we're only reducing to the 70%.
Sounds good. Would someone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Kelly,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Resolution 2542, authorizing participation with the county municipal joint insurance fund for the 2025 safety program management. This is something we've done for decades. I do want to make sure everyone knows about doing the participating in those classes to get free funds. I tried to do it the other day, forgot my password. I'll reset it again. Would someone like to make a motion to this? Ms. Kelly, you're the joint.
I'll make that motion. I'll second
Motion
it.
by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
6 ayes.
All right, that resolution is adopted. All right, so we'll get right on to committee reports. Finance and construction. Mr. Murray.
Yes, I'm going to hold my report till next week in the council meeting.
We'll let everybody know what's happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the day?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know the exact day. Go ahead.
So I'm going to help. So as Mr. Murray's been working for the past year, obviously trying to make our construction office better, more efficient in ways, we've come to basically what we're going to try at this point, and I use the word try because everything is always, evaluation. We are going to move the construction technical assistant to the front office. And the logic here is that the front office is open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday when the borough is open. The window is always manned, or not manned, well, woman, and there's always someone there to help. The idea is not to do each other's work, but to simply assist each other, other than the fact that one of our employees is going to be an assistant to the technical assistant. And the reason for that, obviously, is people are entitled to days off, people get sick, people, go out to lunch. The idea is that we can hopefully have a window that's open during normal hours so that people don't have to show up at a certain time or show up and the window's closed. TheSecond thing is just the idea of being helpful to each other. We're hoping that there's a helpful atmosphere that will make a difference. Construction officials will still use their office because that's where stuff's going to be stored. Files will be kept there. We're still trying to scan documents, make things better for records keeping. Nothing will change up front. There'll be some logistical issues about moving stuff back and forth, but I think it'll also give us some oversight so we can see where our needs are and address those needs. As you
Well, I
know,
like the idea that the window will always be open, because I do know that when there was times when she wasn't able to be at the window, there was nobody there to cover her.
and if you notice,
And that's not good service for our
It's
residents.
not, you're right. And to try to, it's just not realistic to think you're going to hire somebody for an hour a day.
Yeah.
So this seems like to me a solution to a problem that everybody's been talking about. So hopefully we'll have some growing pains and it'll
See
all
how
work
it
out.
works out.
yeah, and so just so everyone remembers, the court office used to be closed sometimes. Now with more staff there, the court is open all the time. It's been running very efficient, right? Everything's been working good. If anything, we're always trying to keep tweaking it to make things better. But I'm really hoping it makes a difference. We have a lot going on in this town right now. With all this work being at Ashbrook Landing, the potential at La Quinta, which is tomorrow night's meeting. You know, businesses on the Blackhurst Pike, renovations in the industrial park, there's a lot going on. So hopefully this all works out. Anything else?
I mean, I did, I don't know if everybody's out at Ashport Landing, but I was out there this afternoon, and they're actually framing the roof on the first building, so it's really coming along and starting to look like something out there. The Quinta, I've seen the plans for, what the intentions are out there. It's going to be, the whole first floor is going to be all 2-bedroom units, except for, I think, one on the end where the mechanicals are. And then the bulk of them are going to be 1-bedroom units. Basically, in simple terms, we're taking two hotel rooms and making one apartment. That would be the easiest way to explain
And
it.
it's market rate the whole way.
As far as I know, that's the intention, to be with market rate apartments. And that's
That was not something that was ever brought up?
Yeah.
or-
That's the submitted application.
Yeah.
Remember, we've done our part.
It's all market rate.
There was some stuff flying around on Facebook that I was, just wasn't true.
I can't, no way.
Yeah, believe it or not, Facebook wasn't accurate. Somebody was not accurate on Facebook, but it kind of grew some legs this week on one of the posts I seen. But as far as I know, it's a company with the experience to turn this place around. They're doing all their background work right now. We were out there yesterday for about 5 or 6 hours. We'll be out there again later this week, and hopefully it's going to move forward.
And we do have a little presentation from our engineers about affordable housing, because we do have some obligations. But this is the first step of us doing it, not on projects that are already,
Nikita has nothing.
it's already, yeah.
That is a pending planning board application that's on the agenda for tomorrow night. But that has,
No, ma'am.
there's nothing with affordable housing as part of any of the redevelopment agreements or that pending planning board.
And Steve will be there tomorrow night to make sure any questions are answered. Okay, public safety, Ms. Kelly.
I will defer to my council meeting report.
No problem. Public events, Ms. Passio.
Okay, well, I'm just going to report, anything else I'll report at our council meeting, but there is the free rabies clinic on Saturday, March 15th, 10 to 12, at the Harry Williams Building. The injection is for 3 years, and it is free. So it's not just for the Runnemede residents, for any Camden County residents. So again, it's free.
It's March 15th.
March 15th.
Engineers, Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few, New Jersey DOT 2024 State Aid Program for Williams Avenue, Sherrington, and Mitchell Avenue. Plan specifications and engineer PSE and G packet were submitted to New Jersey DOT. Bach Associates are currently coordinating with New Jersey DOT Local 8 requiring submittals by New Jersey DOT concurrence. The project will be advertised for bid. Also, New Jersey Reconstruction Authority maintained, New Jersey DOT, I'm sorry. Bach Associates are currently coordinating with the Borough and New Jersey DOT Local 8 regarding final project closeouts. Police station roof project is complete, currently coordinating with the contractor for closeout documents for final payment, final change order, and warranty information. After speaking to Mark and Harry, CDBG application is due on March 4th, March 3rd. And we're recommending Bauer Avenue and North Creek.
Are they good applications? They're good applications.
Ours is the drainage issue right in ball fields. We've been trying to get that done for years. This is now in the CDBG eligible track.
Oh, it changed.
Only the census have changed. So
Yeah.
projects we've been doing on West
They're
Second,
done.
it's no longer in the eligible track.
See that, we put a new road in and then
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
so Harry had come up with a list of about 7 different projects in these areas.
Really came up with 7?
And had them ranked, and these were the top 2, and I agree with them that we should move forward with these 2. That's it.
No objections, right?
So I will.
Need a resolution
I'll
for-
coordinate with that for the resolution next Tuesday. The resolution can be submitted after the fact, so
We'll get it
we
done.
don't have to work on it.
Okay. All right, good. Anything else?
Not pertaining to this, but I've been walking over at the Horton project over there every couple of days with Bernie. And what are they going to do if they get company there for parking? There's no parking signs the whole street, on the streets.
So the parking,
Parking in front.
under the state's rules, which is state statute, residential site improvement standards, they have a maximum parking that can be provided, maximum parking that can be required for any residential development, and it's based on the type of housing, whether it's an apartment or a single family, and if it's a single family or a townhouse, which is considered a single family, on number of bedrooms. In that calculation that the state has provided to all municipalities and all developers, it has a calculation of guest parking calculated into it. So the applicant, Bureau Horton, is providing the state required, well, the state required residential site improvement parking that can be demanded of them. So they have some on-street parking, but
He went in front of the planning, what he's trying to say is, he went in front of the planning board, and they met the standard.
And unfortunately.
And the only thing we could say is, I think what Bob's saying is, did we impose that restriction that there is no off-street parking? We could always change that, I guess.
There was a restriction in certain areas not having.
Certain areas, but not the entire.
No, so there's
I
certain.
think you're
areas
thinking about that
can-
main drive, and then when you go back into the
I'm
area.
talking about the main drive.
The main drive, there's no parking, but because you have to go back where the houses are. I think it's for access for
I
the,
believe that was conditioned, that was a concern also during the public hearings, that.
neighbors need one parking.
And that parking wouldn't be on that drive where parking currently doesn't exist, and so the parking had to be more to the residential area, and also they didn't want other persons that may not be part of that neighborhood
Park.
now creating a new parking area that doesn't currently exist.
Patients.
But, so they have met the standard that's required of them, and hopefully it'll all work out. I don't always agree with all the standards for the residential site improvement standards, but that's the role we have to live by.
Thank you.
There it is.
Yeah.
If you recall also, the planning board removed the front townhomes along that stretch, so there was
We did.
parking and all that. So
Well, that's what
that
I
pushed
think
back,
what Bob is saying, there is no parking down there.
because there's no
Those
homes
townhomes
for it,
were
but there
eliminated and no
there is overflow parking near the units that was.
There was, and the islands in the middle, there is some.
Yes.
There's a plan, you can go online and see it, you know. We'll see. Okay, thank you. Public Works, Mr. White.
Really, I have nothing to report right now, I'm just here for the council meeting, and let Harry elaborate.
Okay. Arts and Recreation, Mr. Sabrina.
Not much going on. Everybody's basketball's winding up. Softball's registered, softball, they started registration. They're going slow. They got some numbers, but softball. They start off slow, but they have to some decent numbers. Baseball's doing well. They're doing most of everything online. And the big event at the RY this week, the cancer weekend, I think they raised a little over $25,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Also,
That is
last year
amazing.
they broke a little over 20, this year they broke a little over 20.
Did you get opening days for the two sports?
No, I think,
Because that's important, there's a lot of things going
I
on.
think we talked about that. I think
We
it's
did
also
mention
the
something.
ninth, either the 12th or
You
19th.
did say it, but I don't know if I wrote it down.
Opening day,
I just said it was tentative.
April 12th.
April 12th.
You think that's definite?
Right now it's definite, but I'm not sure. I'll talk to
There was a couple
Brian,
other
see what happens.
issues.
And usually the girls softball is the week after.
Okay, so it'll be the 12th and the 19th.
Right.
So that gives you,
Well, you said something the
He's
12th.
parade. Will be
Is
the
it 12?
19th, the 19th.
yeah, that's,
So, yeah, that's at noon, so what time is,
Softball is usually around 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
They do theirs in the
yeah,
evening.
it's later,
Okay.
it's
And we
later.
can,
It's up to you.
we'll let them know. We can do it in the evening, that'd be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, we do it at 12 noon and then it's over with in an hour.
I'll let them know it's a parade, and most of their kids are prior to the parade, so I'll let them know.
and remember, this new software we're buying, the goal is to have all this stuff on a calendar so everyone can see, so we don't overlap, and we know what's going on. Anything else?
The rest is progress.
Solicitors report, anything?
I'll save for next week.
Okay,
A lot of writing.
all right. Public Works. What's up?
Just going to leave a majority up for Mr. White to give a report next week, but I know a couple of people have some questions. The scout building is still in progress on completing it. We had a couple issues with our last inspection. That's being worked on diligently in the next 2 weeks. We had a meeting today with the gas company, South Jersey Gas, just to advise everybody, we've got 3 big projects coming into town. First one's going to be starting off on Clemens Bridge Road between Schubert and Forest of main renewal. Second one, they'll be moving thereafter next month or following month, starting the 100 and 200 East Block of 2nd Avenue. So we met today for conflicts with the firehouse and the school. The next one after
Excuse me,
that.
can you tear off the roads, because those roads are
Yes.
new.
Yes, and they'll have to restore them with the moratorium part. That's what we
We
spoke
told
about
them we
today.
did the roads.
Notice was provided to all utility companies, including the gas company.
They don't care, huh?
Can't speak for them.
Okay, I said it. They don't care.
And the third one also is 9th Avenue at the other end, and going across Black Horse Pike on the Broadway, going up to Rose Avenue. They'll be doing main renewal over that area. So we're coordinating with police fire with that, so we'll have traffic stuff out with that. Also, we'll have postings of it as it comes up. We'll start posting it on our website 2 weeks ahead of time to make sure everybody gets the ample notice on that. Also got notified by PSE&G, they're going to start tree trimming on Evesham Road, and they'll be moving up the Black Horse Pike through town. Also, PSE&G notified us they've already started, but they're starting their vegetation program along the bike path. So they'll be cutting back and spraying the stuff that's there, and they do know about the trees that were planted last year, so they have them all marked on their system not to be cutting or treating them to kill them. So met with them today to confirm all that. Other than that, progress all around.
I'd like to say something. I'd like to commend the Public Works Department because we lost a very large white pine tree. I mean, it was huge behind the scout building. We're very lucky that it didn't go into the scouts and into the shed, and no one was injured. But they were down there like immediately, and they cleaned it up within a few hours. It's great job.
Have a second. Yard waste, is that going on yet? Is this still?
Never
Yard waste never stops, it's every month.
Never stops.
And just so everybody knows, starting to get some phone calls for bulk leaf. That schedule will come out probably, we'll do it probably the week before Easter, as we've done in the past. So in the meantime though, if you're cleaning up your yards, everything needs to go out in cans or paper bags.
Thank you.
And I know the engineer's report's coming up. Has anybody heard anything about Evesham Road being repaid? The county said it was on their spring list. Is anybody getting notices? Police department, nobody?
I haven't seen any notices.
Yeah, it's supposed to, basically, from
7-Eleven.
all the way down to 7-Eleven, yeah.
What are they supposed to do?
It's curbs, sidewalks, driveways, and,
Are they still putting that light up on, what is it?
Reed?
Yeah, Reed and,
that's through the DOT.
Yeah.
So the county's doing that, Evesham. The DOT was doing Clemens Bridge Road.
Where the kids were crossing, right?
Yeah.
We sent them a resolution, and it's on
I
them.
did see them out there though.
The flashing beacon.
The flashing beacon
Yeah.
for that crossing, when there's not a crossing back there.
How about all those boxes we need to replace on each end?
There was manholes that we were trying to get a shared service agreement with the county, so I can double check.
We believe they put it in there.
We sent the plans that we had come up with, sent them to the county for them to incorporate into their construction dollars.
Because they were getting federal money and everything, they could do everything, they could throw everything. That's why they're doing curbs and sidewalks, because they never do sidewalks
At the end of the month.
if they have it. So Captain Chunky's will get driveway aprons and curbing all along there. What else? Was there anything else? It was a sidewalk, they were painting all the sidewalk.
Yeah, we're redoing the sidewalk around the point itself, taking away some of the grass because of the traffic that goes over and
Yeah.
drives over it all the time. So we put our 2 cents in, but yeah, it's supposed to be a spring start.
I think spring. Okay. All right, engineering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a report in writing, and Bob covered most of it, so hopefully I won't duplicate too much here. One thing on page 4 of my report, DPW drainage, at the last council meeting, I said we received bids, and the low bid was, I think, they were hardscaping. We have 60 days to award that, so we're hoping to get an award by April 1st. We're trying to get some CCMUA funding for that. So we had a meeting with the executive director last week, and I think it was a very productive meeting. We're trying to get some money from them. The mayor sent them a nicely written email.
Excellent. And Mark wrote it, I just signed it.
So we're still still waiting to hear from them. If it gets close to April 1st, I will reach out to Think Pavers to try and get them to extend their 60-day holding of the unit prices. Bob talked about the 2023 project. I've been working with Shelley we just uploaded the CFO certification and the final payment voucher for the project on Harding and Payne. So hopefully we'll be getting our final payment from DOT to close that job out. Steve, you want to talk about affordable housing? As soon as I'm done under Federal Engineering. And the last thing I have is we did submit the local recreation improvement grant that was due on January 31st for the second round of funding for the pickleball courts. There were no grant announcements made to date, but as soon as we hear, we'll let you know. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me, and then I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
Thank you. One thing to add on to a general report, shared service agreement, you'll probably see that coming on an upcoming meeting. Shared service between Runnemede and Barrington for the homes in Barrington tying into the sanitary sewer extension. And Mayor, I apologize for leaving a letter out of your name in that agreement. I misspelled the mayor's name. Going on to affordable housing, and I have to apologize to Shelley.
Excuse me, do we need anything with CCNE Way?
That is a precursor for the CCNE Way.
So this first and then...
Correct. So what the mayor's alluding to is the CCNE Way is already indicated by resolution well before this project was put out to bid that they will waive connection fees for 2 years. One of the precursors or items for getting a formal agreement with the CCNE Way is have this shared service agreement with Barrington in place. And then we're working to just follow through and make sure all the paperwork's ready, so if people are ready to tie in, everything's in place, that there's not remaining costs with the CCNE Way for those residents. It's very important.
It's a huge amount of money. It costs almost $10,000 per
Yes, it's already been waived by the CCNE Way. Now it's just a nuts and bolts on how to make it happen. Referring everyone to a memorandum that we prepared on February 24th, Shelley, I did not do this one, and I did not notice that you were not included. I apologize for that. But I just want to go in general. So everybody should have a memorandum, and everybody should have a sample resolution. But I'd like to talk in generalities about affordable housing, how it affects Runnemede. So round 4, everybody's probably been seeing this in the newspapers, and, that round 4, the affordable housing obligations have been issued by the Department of Community Affairs for the years 2025 to 2035. All rounds are typically 10-year periods of time. And what that affordable housing obligation is the, and this one is issued by the Department of Community Affairs, saying that across the state we have X number of affordable housing units that are needed, and also we, over the next 10 years, and then also we have a certain number of present need, meaning number of units in the state that currently need a major system, like a heating system or a roof or a kitchen, for people that meet certain affordability requirements. The way the state then takes this statewide number is they have a wonderful, very, very complicated court now approved from the 2018 court approval. They filter it down 6 subsections, then they filter it down to counties, and then they filter it down to the municipalities, and they publish what your affordable housing obligation is. And what your affordable housing obligation is saying, you should have this many affordable units in your town, and they have to be qualified affordable units. So I just want to take a few moments. What is a qualified affordable unit? A qualified affordable unit is something that is restricted in a manner that can be proved that it will stay affordable during any 10-year period of time. Typically, it's a deed restriction or has to be an institutional restriction, such as a nonprofit that has a multi-year licensing or something like that. That's not to say that the borough doesn't have affordable apartments within the town, but they're not credentialed. So sometimes the affordable rents that can be charged may be very similar to the rents that we're seeing in some of our apartments that are throughout the borough, but
They don't qualify because
they don't qualify because they're not deed restricted, and one of the main objections to this process that have been heard over and
So
over
can they
again.
become qualified?
Not
Or do you have-
unless someone wants to voluntarily deed restrain. So,
No
but,
one's,
yeah. So,
And Mayor, I gotta run, but just so you know,
Yes.
I've sat through this presentation 3 times and everything he says is right and has my full approval. Thanks, everybody.
good luck tonight.
Thank you, Dan.
So, what the state is saying to us as municipalities, unless you object and come up with your own methodology, and the methodology is about that thick and took them 2 years to write, unless you object, then you should really accept our methodology. And I'm going to go to page 2 real quick. And they provided certain deadlines that all municipalities should follow. There was a January 31st, 2020 deadline for you to agree with the state's numbers. They're not saying these are your numbers, but they give me a deadline to agree or disagree. If you disagree, you have to provide them with your methodology of why you disagree. And we're not going to spend a couple $100,000 trying to figure out how to disagree with the methodology that was already a subject of a 2018 Jacobson case. So there was a deadline on January 31st. The reason that I'm here now and not worrying about that January 31st, 2025, the borough did not participate in the prior round. I mean, we did not have substantive certification or sign off on then the Council on Affordable Housing for round 1, 2, or 3. If you recall, that was the court, round 3 was the most recent one, which was the court process. The cost to go through that court process was very substantial, and the only remedy of risk that the borough had, we had many conversations here at Mayor and Council, is what they call the builder's remedy lawsuit. Builder's remedy lawsuit is if you do not have a certification in your affordable housing plan, then a builder can come into your town and build multi-unit apartments anywhere within the town, but those multi-unit apartments will have affordable housing in them. We do not have big tracts of land, especially now. We don't have big tracts of land, so we only had the one big tract of land, which was the Samos property down to the Gordon property. But the chances of someone coming in and assembling a good amount of property and paying for it, or paying for either homes or commercial properties, assembling them, building apartments, and then putting 20% or 50% of affordable units in there without state or federal subsidy is very, very low. And that's why you did not participate in the process. Other towns, like Gloucester Township, which has a lot of open farmland tracts where it would be less expensive to do some things, they participated in the process. So the borough, by not hitting that January 31st deadline, you're not at any more risk than you were before that January 31st deadline. You have no protections. So that's why if you wanted to maintain your protections from builders remedy lawsuits, you would have had to have that resolution done by January 31st. That's not the case. What we're here is to talk about why you should be participating in affordable housing this round 4. As Shelley and Beth would probably attest, 10 to 12 questions on the best management practices for your state aid had to do with affordable housing this
It was
cycle.
closer to 17.
More than 17. They were unscored this year. History has shown us, or experience has shown us, unscored questions usually become scored in the next year. So we're probably going to be expecting that to be scored. And we have a good understanding that what the state is doing to compel municipalities to participate in this process, I'll tell you what the process is, don't get too scared yet, is that you have to have a fair share plan by the middle of the year, and I believe that deadline is June 30th. Otherwise, your portion of your state aid is going to be at jeopardy. So the builder's remedy lawsuit is no longer the big enforcement action to have towns participate in fair share housing. Now they're looking to attach your state aid. A portion, either a percentage or a whole last payment. They have not issued any guidance. but it would not be good for any municipality, especially the Borough of Runnemede, by any failure of action to now lose state aid. That's part of what we rely on. You'll see these other deadlines, but the biggest one in the middle is June 30th. That's the next one that we're going to be looking at. And let me talk to you, and I do want to have page 3 and 4, how this relates to Runnemede. Prior ground obligations, so from 1987 all the way up to 2025, all the calculations and the Jacobson calculations say that Runnemede should have had 117 affordable housing units that were in place that were credentialed, either deed restricted or somehow creditworthy. We never identified 117 housing units that and never participated in that process. Then they're saying from 2025 to 2035, you need another 39 more. So doing the math, that's just a little over 150 units that the state is saying you should have in place.
Why did I see 34 units in the first letter that was sent to us? 34 was a number.
Because that was a number for the Montvale Collaborative that says what your numbers should be based on their litigation, I believe.
There was something that said 34.
Montvale,
It came from the state.
39 is our perspective.
39 is your.
No, I'll look it up, I'll find it. It was 34.
39, yeah.
It was one of the reasons I didn't care about the number either, because it was such a low number.
Yeah, but that, you have to go 1, 2, you have to add up 1, 2, and 3, which is to 117. So right now, the state is saying you need 117 plus 39.
Okay.
Affordable housing.
That doesn't equal 215.
Over 250. I mean, sorry.
So we need 215 units?
Yes. 150. 155.
Where's the 215
That's
come
166.
I'll come up 50, yeah, wait. Which one's 50 plus 39? So we do the math for one. Yeah.
117 plus 39.
Yeah. 156, okay, 156. I might have a typo on that one. So we need 156 actual units, and then when we have a thing called a present need, that's the present need where we're 59 units.
There's 39 units.
59 present need. Present need is units in town that are in a major need of a roof,
Oh,
kitchen, heating system, or something else like that. Typically, present need is done by using the Camden County Community Development Grant. Camden County Community Development
CDBG,
Block Grant
yes, for
monies or home monies. And we have actually had documentation from Rob Jacob Basco, how many
Applicants.
units that have already been in there. We're not worried about the present need, that's not usually a part of the challenge. But I do apologize for the other 10 or 215, well, we need 156 units. So what does that mean for Runnemede? First of all, we're a build opportunity. So we're allowed to do what is called a vacant land adjustment. We're allowed to go through using mapping and show we do not have large tracts of vacant land, and all the case law has provided for how you do a realistic development potential, meaning how many units actually could be built in our town using their density numbers and everything else, which is certain number of units per acre and such. So our 156, if we do this vacant land adjustment and include it in our plan before June, is probably going to come down to 20, 25. I can't tell you what the number is, but it's going to be 20 or 25 units, somewhere in that area, much less than 156, because that's what physically could be built here. So the last part of this is, I mean, it's on the last page, the state has conflicting, all the affordable housing rules are generally conflicting, but it has a conflicting rule that even though you don't have any developable land, you still have to show how you're going to make 25% of your original 156 a reality. Well, we're not going to do it by redevelopment. We're not going to finance or build any affordable housing within the municipality. What will be done and recommended to you is that your existing ordinance will say that any housing developments in any of your zones will have a requirement for either a 15% for rental or 20% for for sale set aside for any housing developments of 5 units or more.
So an example, we had a gentleman look on the Black Horse Pike, he wanted to build 40 apartments.
Yes.
With this new zoning rule, he would have had to make 15% of them affordable.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about. Our redevelopment zone is probably the only place that maybe somebody would do
What
something.
about the apartments on Clemens Ridge Road?
The pre-exist, the new ones, they're all done though, see, that's the problem.
They're already approved.
Everything's approved. This is moving forward. So any new applications, that's what we're talking about, stormwater, the trees, new applications have to meet these new standards. So in our redevelopment plan is the only thing, so you're saying,
You're to do this to demonstrate to the new sub-body of the Department of Community Affairs, which is this.
that we've tried to do
Yeah,
something
it's
to.
it's almost it's not the Council of Affordable Housing, but it's going to be a new entity and it's a new board, the Affordable Housing Board, for lack of a better name, that's actually still running under the courts. In our plan by June, end of June, we're going to say, this is the number that you said we have, this is the ones that we can physically put in by your rules on a realistic potential. We are not going to build it, we're not going to finance it. If, in order to potentially meet this unmet need of, say, 2025, whatever the calculation is going to have to be, we're going to put in our ordinance zoning that says anybody that comes in and builds 5 or more units is going to have to do inclusionary affordable housing. And anybody who builds a new house, not an addition, but a new house will have to pay an affordable housing fee, or any commercial property is going to have to pay an affordable housing fee.
Now, are you for this impact fee? So to give you an example, my building in Gloucester Township, I got a bill for $28,750 that I have to write to this impact fee. So that's what we're going to start doing.
It's not that whether you're for it or against it, that are the rules.
So we have to adopt an impact fee. And what is that money used for?
That money is used for affordable housing.
So we give that money to the builder?
No. So let me just tell you what the fees are real quick. So residential is 1.5% of equalized appraised value, 2.5% of equalized appraised value, or the appraised value of the property. And it goes into an affordable housing trust. The affordable housing trust is held by the municipality. It can be used for some administrative fees in order to run your affordable housing plan. So some of the fees that put all this stuff together can be done. We don't have a trust fund yet, but in future years you'll be able to do it. And the other thing is you do it to anything that would effectuate or make possible affordable housing units, but also it can go to, and we're using this more and more in our municipalities, that present need. So besides the present need, and that was.
So you're saying fix a roof on someone's house?
Correct. So someone that
So
has.
supplementing what CDBG's doing?
Correct. Somebody.
The borough has an application.
Correct. And we have a program that we have a boilerplate we can share with you. So if someone meets the affordability requirements and agree to restrict selling of their home for a certain number of years, otherwise, most of these loans are for a certain number of years and then it's forgiven for anybody that needs that, that meets the affordability requirements, and needs that heater, needs that roof and everything else. And if they sell their home beforehand, then it has to either be transferred to somebody else or they have to pay it back into the trust fund.
So I'm aware that municipalities, you can donate land to a project, help fund stuff. This is all stuff that other ones do.
You can do that.
You could use these funds for that.
Yes. Anything that effectuates an affordable housing.
So an example, a town has a piece of land, and a builder, you give that piece of land for them to build these 34 units out, so you have that piece of land. But, and then some towns, like I'm doing a project signed in Newark, the applicant before me was building the city donated the land, put restrictions to build 8, but they almost were part of building it. And what about these housing authorities? I'm not saying one of these doing this, I just don't understand it. Are housing authorities, like Gloucester Township Housing Authority, are they part of these affordable housing?
Yes. Actually, Gloucester Township's Housing Authority currently consists of Senior Campus 1, which is an affordable housing down at the, I call it the Lakeland facility, all for 100% affordable procedures. But
Run by the municipality.
It's
With that
run,
authority.
it's run by the municipality, but it was built with state subsidy from the housing mortgage
Okay, back when it was
finance.
done years ago.
Right. So,
There's no money.
but we already had the
Runs.
Brunson House, which was subsidized by federal money, which was HUD. So, but those financing opportunities for suburban communities are very limited right now. And also, I would ask that you be supportive if anybody ever wants to come in and do those type of projects. But you do not want to be obligated to fund. You don't want to be obligated to fund.
I was just trying to figure out why we were gonna collect this money and what we were gonna do with this money.
Well, it's either, look, it's kind of hard to do it, but you can't do a 20% set aside on a single family house. So it's 1 per 5. That's why anything over 5, they would have to do the affordable housing set aside.
When somebody builds a single family home in town, they pay 1.5%.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Closer Township has that currently?
Yes. Caucus Township has had that for several years. Any towns that have participated in the past on round 1, 2, or 3 typically has that development thing. You, Runnemede, is just like a lot of other municipalities up and down both pikes. You generally build out. Then there was no real, except for a builder's remedy lawsuit for the last 3 rounds, there was no stick to kind of say you should apply or else. You could say, okay, somebody comes in, builds a big apartment complex, let them try to figure out how to do it without state financing or federal financing, and they typically can't do that. Now we are going to be compelled to comply in another way, which is jeopardy of our state aid at the end of the year. So this is
So,
please.
okay, so I'm a builder and I'm gonna build a development.
Okay.
I have to have some affordable housing in there?
If you're over 5 units, yes.
So this apartment that was building in the old spaghetti house lot, that's doing 16 units, she would have had to put in 3, right? 4
Correct.
units. And what that means is just that they get a subsidized, lower rent, correct?
They would have to de-restrict under the old rules 20 years, under the current rules around 30 years of keeping those units under the affordable control that are published by the state.
Now, remember, as things, like we all know about the views, I think, once that deed restriction ends, it can change back again, correct?
Correct. We use that's matter.
Yeah.
So the Runson House possibly,
Back-
say, we're going to
Barrington-
sell it, it's going to go to
That
market.
Barrington did not have, they might have had a financing restriction, but they didn't have a deed restriction. So,
But it was part of the pilot program, like our
Right,
program, that
right.
ended in 30 years.
yeah, but
Do we have to get pilot programs for these affordable
you
housing?
do not.
We could, though, to incentivize.
You could. You could. So what needs to be done for you to not jeopardize your state aid is you have to provide the realistic opportunity for affordable housing to occur in Runnemede to meet your realistic development potential, which is probably going to be those units calculated 20 to 25 units. And you're going to not agree to do any redevelopment to try to have those built within a certain time frame. And you're not going to agree to fund any of those. So my recommendation is to allowing for that overall zoning, going through this process, get our 156 down to a manageable 25, saying that the present need of 59 will be handled by the county program, and we should be able to get through
And then new development will get this impact fee and do roofs and heaters and
Correct.
things like that,
Correct.
which is administered through us here.
No.
Rob would do it?
The loan for those type of fees would be done here by your housing liaison, but it's a different standard than the federal one. Russ, man, to have are you the housing for
Yeah.
Any more initials?
Now it's an actual job.
Now it's a job.
Yeah, but.
So you have to go to someone's house and say their heater needs to be
Right,
replaced.
but until that program is set up, until you have a good amount of funding, which is probably years in the future, it's not gonna be something that's gonna happen right away. You're not gonna take the first dollar.
So it'll be anything after, would be anything that, when it starts, like here, take Popeyes, for example. They would get hit on the impact?
No,
Too late.
they're already done.
So anything new?
After July
So a new warehouse on 9th Avenue.
You cannot, it'll be after the June adoption of your plan. Because your plan will be a housing element, a fair share plan that's approved by the planning board, saying this is how
So it
we
has to
go
start
for
there.
housing. And then you have to adopt it by ordinance. When you adopt that housing element fair share plan, you're also going to adopt the affordable housing fee ordinance, and you're going to have several other ordinances that are going to have to be
So to
changed.
give you an example, in Gloucester Township, Dan's, it's construction. I had to sign an affidavit that I would pay it before they would even give me my construction permit.
And it was conditional of your approval at the zoning board.
Yeah.
So that step was so, right at the beginning, they wouldn't even let me move forward without that affidavit. Now, they didn't come up with the amount until the assessor came to my building and then came up with a number and sent it back to me.
And typically it's 50% of the time of building permit, 50% privacy.
They just, the whole amount I have to pay before I get my CO.
Oh, they were nice to you. A lot of times 50% at building permit.
They didn't do it until, because I'm doing a 5-year pilot tax abatement.
So this is something, unfortunately, that you, Runnemede, and every other municipality in the state is dealing with. I do not believe you have the same sort of latitude as to not participate in this process. You can not participate, but I would caution you because you're going to be subject to loss of state aid, and if you lose the state aid, that's really a bad one for a municipality.
None of it's bad,
It really does.
even if it's only 1%.
So who's going to prepare this plan?
That would be us. So we're,
And you'll have all the particulars, like you're talking about, all the extra ordinances that we have to,
yes.
you have that already?
We actually do want the township's affordable housing plan that caused the mayor certain fees, but yes. So, but yes, we'll prepare that. And we're going to be in front of the planning board probably in May, and then we'll be here.
So they have to hear it first?
It's
All right, so it's one of those things, starts in the planning board,
Correct.
then moves to us, and then we adopt.
Correct. But we got to do the background research. We'll give you an updates of how everything's looking to see.
Are you looking to do an overlay on top of our zoning map? Are you
I
looking
do
to?
not want to do anything like that. So, real quick, if you do a redevelopment, so say for instance, we have an unmet need, based on that redevelopment, realistic development potential, not redevelopment. Say we have 25, and say we can't identify anywhere in town that I'm going to get 25.
Current
right now.
conditions.
We're going to say that's an unmet need, and we're going to say whoever comes in and wants to build residential units, they're going to have to either pay a fee from 1 to 5, or they're going to have to do the inclusionary for 5 or more units, meaning the 15 or 20%. And we're going to leave it at that. That's a realistic opportunity for affordable housing to occur. I do not believe that we're going to have any significant challenge from any outside developers rushing in and saying, no, I want to do this right here, right now. But that passes, I believe, the test of us participating to get us to a point of not losing our state aid.
When do we have
When-
to pass this resolution?
We'll get back to that. 1 second, then we'll stop talking. So,
No, no, not at
give
all.
me 1 second.
This is so impactful. Oh, no.
But I want to get back to the mayor's thing before I try. So when you do a redevelopment project, so say you are a municipality that is kind of been targeted by objectors, and the largest objector in the state is Fair Share Housing Center, which are the ones that started the original Mount Laurel 1, Mount Laurel 2. But Fair Share Housing Center is the universal potential objector, any fair share.
Made up by builders. who pay
No,
for this.
no, Fair Share Housing Center is a nonprofit in Mount Laurel that.
But it's
actually-
funded by the builders.
No, they're funded by, they're not funded by the builders at all. Fair Share Housing Center,
And who would support them?
Fair Share Housing Center gets a good amount of their, my understanding, I'm not in their books, but they get federal and state subsidy because they advance affordable housing goals and objectives throughout the state, and also they receive attorney's fees as part of settlements with many, many other entities. So, I can't tell you, but it's my understanding it's not good for the builders. But if you do a redevelopment And if they also develop by a midpoint review, the state can come in and say, you've established this is how you're going to do units. It didn't develop in 5 years. Runnemede, you're going to have to pay for it. I need you to pay to build that. So like, you do a redevelopment and you try to put out RFPs.
Oh, so you don't
try
want to,
get
okay.
people, you try to get people to build like 100 units.
Yeah.
Or 100 units, so you got 25 affordable units, sitting on the side, or, it doesn't matter, 120, so you get 25. If it doesn't happen in 5 years, there's a possibility that an objector, possibly Fair Share Housing Center, could say, you need to do it now, you need to fund it, you need to come up with $25 million. So we're not getting into any of those potential traps. We're gonna work very hard to follow the rules, but not.
So we're just gonna amend our land use ordinance. That's all we're doing.
You're gonna go through.
To current R3, R2, whatever zone.
So the process I'm gonna ask you to do and follow is, first, there's a sample resolution, which has already been reviewed by our solicitor. And we'll double check it to make sure I didn't do any math errors on this one. But it's saying that we're gonna agree that the state's numbers are correct. That's the first one, and that's the one we're kind of catching up on from the January 31st. Next thing in our list is that we're going to prepare a housing element and fair share plan, which is it is part of our master plan documents. And we're going to have that before planning board, probably in May, and then June be acknowledged by a resolution approving it by governing body. Unless we're stating
And
something.
that's all we have to do.
That's all we have to do for right now.
Okay.
But once we have all those ordinances in place, we're gonna have to track it. Anybody that comes in and builds a single family, anything with a residential, they're gonna have to pay a fee. If they're less than 6 units, and anything above that, they're gonna have to pay these.
Would that all be in the settlement, when they have settlement for the home? Would be?
No. The fee is paid like you're paying a construction permit.
Part of the building
Oh,
permit process.
And then
Up
the
front?
CFO puts it in the trust account, and the housing liaison is the one who's,
And if anybody that comes in for a planning board approval, that'll always be in the conditions of approval. And it's very similar to what all the other municipalities that have been participating. Cherry Hill, Gloucester, Townsend, all the large municipalities have been participating. Anybody that was going through sort of litigation with open tracts of land, I could say, for instance, we're involved in Stratford, they have participated through this process because they had a shopping center that was subject of a redevelopment. So that's been, without telling you any details of the school, but that's been ongoing. We have been able to, as a borough, not participate. I think I have no objection to the governing body's decisions over the past 30 years. This is a little different, and it's being brought to us differently. So I just want to give you an overview of what you're going to see. You're going to see some draft information. Be back again before June to make sure you know what's going on and what the calculations come to. But that's about it.
Steve, would this be right away?
No, so
Time.
Dan will reach out to you. I believe it's going to be on your neck, not your next.
The end of the month.
do it in April.
I'm going to ask you to email Dan. He has us already informed. There are so many darn rules to this thing. Once you do this resolution, the DCA now has a requirement that you do this resolution, you got to file declaratory writ. Might not be long term, but Dan Essex is to file with the court saying you adopted this. Within 48 hours of the resolution, so it doesn't have to happen
So
this
it's
evening.
like it's a legal.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's,
They're not playing. Wow.
this process has been in litigation since 1987. All the rules are now a combination of what was originally written by the people of the state over the years, and the parts of the rules from 4 different rounds, 1, 2, and 3, and now going to 4, that have been decided by court cases, case law. So it's not as simple as, hey, this is, provides some affordable.
Well, I've been on council long enough, we ignored this all the years that we were here.
You didn't ignore it.
We did.
You made a valued decision. You made a valued decision as to your exposure.
Yeah, 'cause who was going to sue us to build, 1,000 units somewhere?
So this would have to be done in council next week?
I'm going to defer to Dan.
Oh.
I'll wait for the
We're not in
time.
any rush.
Okay.
We're not in any rush.
Okay.
Maybe the April meeting and then 2 days.
It could be the April meeting.
Yeah.
So whenever Dan is ready with his, and you'll see it coming on the agenda whenever we know that, the resolution's done. You might even have the judgment already been set and speak to him about this.
So you had to do it right away. So you had
Yeah.
It's good to go second, first.
But I wrote this one first before, I'm just kidding.
Sure.
All right, so I know that's a lot of information, there's a lot more there, but hope I get the short.
You gotta protect the borough.
Definitely.
Thank you. Was there anything else?
No.
All right, so we got the chief,
All right, no, I'm good.
chief, CFO, administrator.
Our annual financial statements are due next Friday, so once we have filed the final copy of that, I will send them out for everybody to review.
So that's what's in our surplus, those kind of things that help us out with our budget. We have to wait for the auditors, correct, before we have those.
Yes, to do the final treatment.
Okay, good. All right, let's go on to payment of bills. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Passio, roll call.
Ms. Mazzio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And Mr. White?
Yes.
Bills are paid. Good and welfare. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there anything else before we adjourn? Do I have anything to say? All right, motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Mr. Shapiro, all in favor?
Aye.
We adjourn at 7:11.